Hi, this is Dr. John DeWitt, and Dr. Bergman and I are going on a cruise here in February, and I just wanted to introduce you to Michelle. She's going to be speaking on gluten, sugar, dairy-free, all kinds of great stuff. We met a little while ago at an event, at a VIP function actually, and she was sitting at a table, and I walked up, and we were just fast friends. She's just like, kind of like my little sister, super educated, super smart, and I just wanted to introduce her to you guys. So, hi, Michelle.
Hi, thanks so much for having me, and most of all, thanks for letting me go on the cruise. I'm super excited. I mean, come on, I'm
It's
going
going
to
to
be
be
on a
fun.
ship for 7 days, playing with fun people, getting to talk, getting to teach, going to great ports of call. I mean, who wouldn't love this? And I couldn't believe how affordable it is, too, so that was awesome, too.
Awesome. So, can you give us a little background just so our little group of folks here can kind of know a little bit how you got to where you are?
Sure. So my name is Michelle DeBerge, and I'm a professionally trained life coach, motivational speaker, best-selling author, and professional chef. I know, what a mix, right? So I have spent most of my life, helping. Being of service. So I started working with the homeless for a long time. I was a case manager for mentally ill offenders and helped build a mental health court, and ended up moving into life coaching. And one of the fun things is along the way, I found out I was misdiagnosed for over 20 years for a condition. And so I had to take all this medication, and I got physically very, very sick. And so a couple years ago, I found out that I have an HMO, which is a medical system where the doctors put in their notes and they all can read the notes, but they all gave me different medications for different symptoms. And the main thing was my organs were failing. And so I ended up going to Mexico. I live in Mexico part time. I was raised in Mexico, to a local doctor that I've seen who is holistic, and said basically in Spanish, your organs can't breathe. They're going to die there. And I'm like, well, what do you mean they can't breathe? He's like, they're caked with medicine. So we got rid of all my medication. I was very, very sick for a long time. I did things like go in an oxygen chamber. I don't know. There was one point he had these different herbs in a bundle I had to beat my skin with in the shower. I don't care. I did it anyway. Along the way, he took away my gluten, dairy, and sugar. And let me tell you, the dairy piece was super hard. Like I'm arguing with him, right? Okay. His name was Synovio. And I'm like, no, 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 Synovio. How about Parmesan cheese? It's a hard cheese. It's not a moist cheese. I can have that. No, no, no. So then I'm like, what about Roquefort and blue cheese? Because it's got, mold in it. I think it's like an antibiotic. He's like, no, no, no. So every day he would come to treat me. And the first time he came, it was actually pretty funny because he came in the middle of the night. Literally, it was after midnight, stuck an IV in my arm, hung it up on the hook above my bed that had the curtains, and wrapped foil around the IV bag and left me. And I'm thinking, what did I do? And I'm in Mexico, and it's the middle of the night, and I'm looking at my arm, and I'm like, trusting the universe. Okay, if this is what you brought me. Well, he came back an hour later and took the IV out, and I said, okay, so am I going to die? And he said, with the lifestyle you have, yes. With what you're eating, yes. With how you're treating your body and your medication, yes. So I said, that thing. And he goes, oh, that's vitamins. The light would have just messed with it. I was completely depleted. So all of a sudden, I had to learn nutrition and how to take care of myself. So I went and studied with some of the best people and learned. And I had just finished my third cookbook, and it was headed to the publishers. And I realized, like, I couldn't in good conscience, because I walk my talk, tell people to go eat like I used to eat because they would end up like me. So if you really knew me, you would know I was over 500 pounds. How heavy was I? We don't know. There wasn't a scale that weighed me that much. Yes, part of it was lifestyle. A lot of it was medication. The medication caused the weight, which then caused me to be miserable, which then I was in a bad relationship, which then I just said, give up. My favorite thing on the way to work was to stop by McDonald's and get two of those sausage McMuffin things and the hash brownie things, 2 orders, and I could eat that on the way to work. And once I got to work, I was ready for the breakfast meeting, which I then had bacon and eggs and pancakes. Do I need to go on? No. So I became gluten, dairy, sugar free, and I started rewriting the recipes as a hobby, and it became my website. And all of a sudden, I'm helping people transform their lives through healthy eating, conscious thought about what we put in our bodies, and motivation, because we have to stay motivated.
That's what love so much about you, Michelle, is that you've actually been where a lot of our patients have been, and I think they're really going to be able to relate to you. And we've talked about the dairy part of it because we did several different talks, and we've read the China study and talked about that as well. And that goes all into the details about casein that's found in milk. It's just one of the biggest cancer-causing agents out there. It's pretty scary.
Well, I didn't understand how I was going to have pizza without dairy like that. So then I ordered it without cheese. But then I was reminded by my doctor, like, that's gluten in the crust. Sugar was the hardest for me to give up. I didn't realize how addicted I was to sugar until I had given it up for almost a year. And I went to a fundraiser for Liga Max down in Mexico. And it's a jazz festival. And they had the beautiful buffet. And they had the dessert table. Okay. They had every kind of dessert in the world. So I got the little bitty plate, and I thought, I'll just have a bite of everything. It'll be okay. The plate was this big, and I literally had a bite of everything in it. And I sat down, and my mother looked at me, and she said, you've got to be kidding me. After all the weight you've lost out of everything you're doing. And I'm like, it's just once. It's not a problem. And so I ate, proceeded to eat it. Noticed one thing. Nothing tasted as good as I remembered. My taste buds had changed. And second, I had the worst hangover for 2 days from sugar. I was violently ill, throwing up, cold, chills, headache that wouldn't go away. And in that moment, I realized, oh gosh, those crazy people that said sugar's white death, it really is. And now I'm one of those crazy people. And I'm not like crazy, like, oh, don't eat it. But I'm like, hey, it makes a difference to change your diet and pay attention. And when I met you and found out that you are about mind, body, and spirit, I'm like, oh, we're going to be friends and play together.
Yeah, that's true. It's funny because I did a similar thing. We always recommend vegetable juice fast from time to time to kind of help cleanse the body. And last time I did that, I had the same exact experience because I had a weakness for Doritos. And so it had been 3 weeks where I hadn't had anything but vegetable juice and cucumbers and carrots and all healthy stuff. And so I said, oh, I'll have a bag of Doritos. Well, not a whole bag, but I'll have some Doritos. And when I took the first bite, I thought there was something wrong. I thought I got a bad bag or something because it was so salty. I was just like, oh my God, what is wrong with these Doritos? It is amazing how quickly your body wants to be healthy and it'll reset. But then as soon as you try to go back, it's like, whoa, what are you doing? It's really, fascinating. So what is it? I mean, obviously, because you've had personal experience with all this, and that really drives you to help people. But what else do you do that has really inspired you to continue doing what you're doing and helping so many people?
Well, I had an experience about 8.5 years ago. I was in a bad relationship, and he beat me and left me for dead. And actually, my heart stopped, and I was revived and came back. And I was laying in bed, and my bones were broken, and my ribs were broken, and I was really a mess. And I called my mentor, Rich Dutra and Yvonne Dutra St. John are my mentors. They started Challenge Day, which is this neat organization. And I called her, and in that moment she said, Michelle, you're in choice. And I'm laying there in bed in victim thinking, I am not in choice. I did not ask for this. And she said, yes, everything you do is choice. So decide what you want your life to look like. And in that moment I thought, well, first of all, I'm not going to tell you what I thought or what I wanted to say to her, but I didn't. And I hung up the phone very angry. And as I laid there, I had nowhere to go because I couldn't move. I thought, wait, what if she's right? What if everything is choice? What if every decision I've made, what if every experience I have had is choice? And so I said, okay, if that's so, let's just say it is. I don't know if I believe it. At this point, I didn't. I want more connection, love, and adventure in my life. And I didn't know what that looked like. And along the way, she taught me a gratitude practice. And at first, I didn't know what to be grateful for. I mean, seriously, I was not feeling grateful. I was in victim. How could this happen to me? Why me? This is not fair. I don't deserve this. But I didn't take ownership of anything. And so she's like, I don't care. Be grateful for something. And I realized, like, okay, I'm grateful my cat's sitting next to me. My cat, by the way, was 20 years old at the time. I'm grateful for my pillows. It started really small. And then as I teach my clients, start with 5. You do 5 a day, but make them different every day. It got hard. One day I was grateful my door had a doorknob. I am not joking because I was running out of things to be grateful for because I didn't know what was possible. So when we're limiting ourselves and when we live in our little boxes, we don't know what's possible because we just don't know. It doesn't mean that we're doing it wrong. It means we don't know. So I didn't know that treating my body healthy would be a good thing. I thought it was a chore and for those skinny little people. And when someone asked me to be their health coach, I looked at them and said, I've got another 100 pounds to lose at least. And they said, yeah, but you know what you're doing. And you're not some skinny person telling me how to do it, but never walked your talk. And so in that moment, I'm like, yep. So all I do is teach what I know. Now, I've been blessed that I've been able to study with some of the top masters and inspirational teachers and motivational coaches and doctors and people like you, John. I am so blessed. But the reason I do it is because my mentor was right. I'm in choice. And what if I get one life. Now, I don't know what happens when we die, and I'm not going to tell you. If I come back reincarnated and I get another chance, great. I've got some mad skills I can apply. But if this is my one life and I'm in choice, what do I want to do differently? Well, I want to take some risks. I want to risk being happy. I want to risk doing things. I want to risk being healthy. I want to risk being alive 100%. So when I lay down at the end of the day, I'm like, yes, I lived 100%. And some days are bumpy. I had a day 2 days ago that I was like, oh, I just want this day to be over. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Remember, I'm in choice. I'm creating this day. So that's what inspires me is remembering that piece. I mean, I can sit there and be like, oh, poor me. Or I can be like, hey, you know, I met this great guy walking across the room, sat down next to me, started talking to me. Next thing I know, I'm going on a cruise. I get to teach people this. I mean, I'm in choice.
Yeah, that's one of the things that Dr. Bergman talks about a lot, because he's always going to seminars, and now he's got me. I've got the seminar bug. Luckily, and that's how I ended up meeting you. But it always talks about being grateful. That's one of the biggest things in the world. And so one of the things that we decided to do was to go on this cruise in February, because there's people that are out there that don't think they can actually ever come to the office. And even though we have the Skype consultations and things like that, they make the choice to stay where they are and just figure, oh, I can't do anything about it. So we're actually coming to them. So we're going to be on that cruise. We're going to be teaching and educating people on all the great stuff that we do. And one thing that people don't realize, and I'm sure you do, but some people don't realize, is that not making a choice is a choice. Because then you're just sitting there and you're just going to get the same of what you've been getting. You have to decide and make a conscious, proactive effort with your life to get what you want.
Well, here's what's interesting. Someone asked me, and because I was saying I was going on this cruise, I'm so excited, and come and get your cabin now because it's got a great rate. And they're like, how expensive is it? I can't afford it. And I said, okay, it's 7 days, 3 meals. You get to go places and take a class. Divide it by 7. Divide it by your meals. That alone is the same amount of money you'd be doing sitting in your house watching TV, eating Doritos. So do you want to sit home, eat Doritos, spend the same amount of money ordering takeout pizza? You want to be on a cruise, and they're going to meet our dietary restrictions, and I get to play on the beach. And yes, I will wear a bathing suit. You know why? Because this is my body, and it is changing, and it's okay, and I'm learning stuff. And I have learned so much from you. Like, I did not know that, like, the adrenal gland is like, if I imagine a little man in my head, like, running my life, that's like the adrenal gland's doing that. It's like, oh, holy cow, I better be nice to him.
Yep. And that's the thing, too, talking about you wearing a bathing suit. The thing is, you have to own where you are now. And it's not bad or good. It's where you are. So you can't start from where you were 10 years ago. You have to start where you are now. So that's just where you have to go from. And there's no, like I said, that's a big, what is his name? We were at a big event recently. Dr. John DeMartini. He always talks about how there is no good or bad. There just are events. And you can't have judgment with things. You just have to decide, okay, if I want to change something, this is where I am now. This is where I want to be. What do I need to do to get to where I want to be? And that's what you do.
I agree. And one of my clients asked me, she said, I've got fibromyalgia and I'm tired all the time and I can barely function. And I'm like, great, come. You're in the perfect place because you're going to learn how to eat. You're going to learn ways to treat your body and ways to feel better and more alive. So what better place to go? So I'm excited. Well, I mean, you can tell I'm like super excited. It's in February and it's December and I've already got the calendar on the wall, making X marks. Woo, 1 day closer.
I know. And it's so funny too, because people like that just are in the whole victim mindset. It's just like walk to the door, walk to the mailbox and back. I mean, that's a start. It doesn't have to be some huge thing. Just make one step and then you take the next step and then you take the next step. It's just, you have to just be proactive and take the first step. That's all it is.
Well, I had a lady call me the other day for a consultation, and she asked me some questions, and I help as much as I can. And then I said, look, this is how I can help you. I said, I will give you the recipes, and I will show you how to prep your food for the entire week in a 2-hour period in 1 day. So when you come home at the end of the day, you can throw together quick meals that are healthy with different flavor profiles, meaning Mexican, Italian, whatever you want to eat. And I'm feeling her wiggle, and finally I said, do you even like to cook? And she said, no. I said, great, then we won't set it up that way. And she said, what do you mean? That's how I have to be. I said, no. If you don't want to cook but you want to be healthy, let's think about this. Do you know somebody who does that you could hire for 2 hours a week to follow my rules and make the prep food so that you can throw it together? She's like, well, yeah, a friend of mine owns a restaurant. And then she said, oh my gosh. I said, look, the deal is I am never going to make someone do something they don't want to do. Why set yourself up for failure? First of all, if you're not going to do it, you're not going to do it. She's not going to cook. Second, make sure that you like doing it. And third, make it easy and fun. So I used to be addicted to Diet Dr. Pepper. I used to drink a 12-pack a day. So in order to get me off of it, I had to make it fun. I had to say, okay, if you do this, you do that. And when you make it fun and you make it a lifestyle, it's a big difference. And that's what I love about your stuff. It's not about you've got to go to the gym 5 days a week and you have to do this and you have to eat 1 carrot, 3 green beans, and a scoop of hummus and you'll be okay. It's not that. It's about looking at food and looking at your life and living it. And that's why I like you. Well, I like you for lots of reasons, but that's one of the main reasons is because you make it approachable for anybody, and that's what the cruise is going to be. Plus, I asked you if we're going to get to eat together and if we're going to hang out with the people that are coming, and your answer was like, of course, like I was a lunatic. So I'm really glad to know, because that's the fun part, because then I can ask you questions along the cruise, you know, because a lot of things you forget. When you go see a doctor, I always tell my clients, write your questions down, because when you get in there, you get blank and you just listen to what they say, and you get home and you're like, I forgot to ask about. So this cruise gives you that opportunity to ask about that thing you forgot. So if you know, I'm sitting in class with you on Monday, we're playing on the beach on Tuesday, and I remember I can ask you. And so what a gift is that?
Yeah, and as our people that are watching this will know, the reason that I really wanted to invite you on the cruise is because you have got that passion and that energy, just like Dr. Bergman does, that you really want to help people, and you know that you can help people. And it's our mission to help as many people as possible. So that's why, I mean, it was a no-brainer to have you come along and share your knowledge.
Well, I appreciate it, because I've got this really weird condition, and it's like I explain to people, if I go through a day where I'm not of service, I don't go to sleep happy. It's like it makes me feel good. You know, my mentor has taught me for years, you can't be depressed if you're being of service, because it's not about you, it's about someone else. But in the process, you're helping yourself.
True. Very true. I don't have any other questions at the time.
Well, I'm really glad you invited me. This was really exciting. I can't wait to see you on the cruise.
I'm excited. I hope we have lots of people that are going to be there to help out and to watch and learn, and helping more people is what we're all about.
Okay, and John's also going to be coming on my calls on my classes, so people get to meet him. So this is going to be fun. So I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, can you send me the link or something for that so I can share that with our people?
Absolutely.
All right. Yeah. Okay, excellent. Thanks, Michelle.
Bye.
Bye.